With Stephen Kilby here for Racer, reporting on a historic running of the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona. Let's talk about GTP first, because it was Porsche Penske Motorsport leading the way. It was controlled, it was dominant, it was everything that Roger Penske would have wanted from his team. It wasn't the perfect race, but both cars performed excellently. The 6 carried damage from hour 2 onwards, which they patched up. Hole in the side, damage to the floor, faded at the end, leaving the 7 to take the honours here. It was Felipe Nasser, Julian Andlauer and Lauren Heinrich who emerged victorious. They collected their watch after just a superb performance from the 3 of them. It was tight at the end, it was nail-biting. We had Jack Aitken in the Whelen Cadillac emerge as the really strong contender, the only really strong contender when the chips were down and the pace was rising in the final part of this race. Aitken reeled in Nasser, he had a go, he had a lunge into turn 1, couldn't make anything stick, and it was gutting. They were heartbroken at Action Express Racing, and quite rightly so. You know, Earl Bamber, Connor Zilic, Fred Vesti, Jack Aitken, they poured their hearts out but couldn't quite make it stick. And that leads us on to the other talking point of this race, really, like the big one for GTP specifically, which is the balancing of the class. Would I go as far as to say that this race was way off in terms of BOP? No, I wouldn't. It wasn't like Porsche were dominating and it was silly. They weren't ever able to build a massive lead, but that is in part, of course, because this race features so many resets usually. It's really difficult to build a lead here, but it did feel like Porsche could kind of keep everyone at arm's length for a lot of this. And from the Acura side, from the BMW side, from obviously the Aston Martin side, I mean, they didn't have the pace or the reliability here ultimately, but there was a complaint from early on from the competitors that they just didn't have the ponies really to match Porsche, and that's kind of how it played out. It wasn't a total blowout by any means, but there was probably going to be some fine tweaking needed after this to make sure that the other brands and all the teams in this class, this amazing class, feel like they have a fair fight. The only other thing to really mention in talking about GTP was the overnight. I mean, it was really disappointing. It was a huge crowd here, record-breaking crowd here at Daytona, turned up for what was going to be an awesome race. The weather was perfect to start with, but once we got kind of settled in and the night fell, the fog came with it, and we lost 6.5 hours to a full course yellow, which disrupted the flow of the race and robbed us of what could have been a really, really fun and interesting night stint. Did it mean that the end of the race was boring? Far from it. It was mayhem in all 4 classes, really. There was intrigue, there was action, there was door-to-door battles. It was classic Rolex for the final couple of hours. It all really got going.